No reveal here, just, no teaser, no nothing, just happy Halloween, YouTube! I'm back and I'm here to bring you a very nice, holiday-appropriate figure, and that is the Shape himself. The evil on two legs with the blank, pale, emotionless face, also known as the William Shatner Star Trek mask by Don Post Studios. It is Michael Myers. Brought to us by McFarlane Toys in 1999, but in their horror movie Maniacs series. McFarlane Toys, of course, if you don't realize, was one of the toy companies or figure makers that specialized in a more mature adult collectible. Gone were the years of stalking Toys R Us's for the latest Ninja Turtles or Star Wars or Batman in shame as you walked amongst the kids. Now you can collect a line from Suncoast that was mostly distributed to Suncoast Videos and local comic shops, as well as some toy stores. I remember KB Toys had a section in their stores. I don't remember seeing these at Toys R Us though, but I think they were there. I actually discovered this at my local comic book shop. My parents had actually just separated, and with my dad, who was a horror freak, I thought it would be a no-brainer that he would get this for me. I thought wrong. He was afraid of what my mother would say. Well, a couple months later, after going to that same comic book shop, this time with my mother, I had just graduated, I think, elementary school. No, I just graduated 7th grade, I think, with probably my best report card yet of my middle school career. And we went in there looking for Spider-Man 300, because I wanted Spider-Man 300. I just found out it was the first appearance of Venom, and I really wanted that comic. How sorely I was disappointed, you all must be thinking. So, after going and through that shop and looking through their back issue bins, for 300, like they were going to put them in the bins, and sorely looking at the wall of Spider-Man comics and finding Spider-Man number 6, Spider-Man number 39, Spider-Man number 41, Spider-Man number 42, Spider-Man number 50, and a couple of other Silver Age Spider-Mans passing up to get this figure. Yes, people, I was an idiot. I could have had anything in that store I wanted, and I chose this over Spider-Man number 6, Spider-Man number 39, Spider-Man number 50. I was a very stupid child. So, anyway, I really love this figure, and I was actually really surprised that my mom bought it for me. I mean, just look at it. Do you really think that this is something a mother should buy for their kids? Keep all your parents or stupid comments to yourself. My mother did the best she could. So getting to this figure, it is a marvelous masterwork. Much like Spider-Man number 39, Spider-Man number 300, Spider-Man number 50, and so on and so forth. And coming back to the figure. Like I said, this is a masterwork in terms of sculpt. The folds look very natural with the terms of body movement. There doesn't seem to look overdone in any way. Everything just looks so natural. I especially like that where the fold meets the knee at the bend. The hands, I think, are a little off-putting. They just don't look natural at all. It obviously looks like someone just sculpted a hand and then just notched into it to try to create, the normal creases and bends in your joints, and it just doesn't look right at all. Everything else just looks phenomenal, especially that face. This is possibly one of the best sculpted faces I have ever seen in a Michael Myers figure. And it was probably the first ever Michael Myers figure to have such a more realistic sculpt. And that stare, that piercing stare in the eyes. My camera really doesn't do it justice. Up close, this thing is just awesome. There's just so many. It looks as if they molded the figure and then molded a mask over the figure's head. That's how striking this thing looks. The hair is all slicked back and it parts at the ends. Looks really nice. And then of course he has the slit in the back of the neck because the mask has to fit over the head somehow. Paintwork is fairly excellent. It is a navy blue jumpsuit. And for all of the different folds and creases, they've actually added a little bit of a gray-ish, maybe more of a blackish, maybe a purplish. They added, I think it's purple to go with the jumpsuit. So they added a little bit of a purple mesh, little purple shading into the folds of the jumpsuit, just to give it a little bit more character and a look. It just popped. It very much looks like a masterwork. It looks like a work of art. This doesn't look like a normal action figure, and I think that's what turned me on to this figure all those years ago. This wasn't just like a cut and dry paint application that you're used to seeing on the old Batman figures, the old Ninja Turtle figures, the old Power Rangers, the old, Star Wars figures. A lot of detail went into this paint, in this shading. It's just remarkable. Articulation, starting with the feet, and once again, the boots are sculpted nicely with nice treads. He has ankle articulation, which is actually kind of useless because he doesn't have anything below the waist. No knees, no hips, no pivots, no nothing. I mean, this is basically a staction. So, getting above that. So he has, your typical waist movement. It can go 360. And normally I would say, why would you want to, you sick freak? But since this is, the evil on two legs, I really don't think it would hurt him. He also has some articulation in his shoulders. Both go 360 swivel. Same thing with his wrist, 360 swivel. And his head actually has some decent articulation. It looks like it's on a ball. And probably one of the first figures I ever had that had a ball-jointed head. Although the mask does and the collar does restrict its overall movement. And last but not least, he does have that, for stabbing motions, he does have that really cool bicep swivel. Unfortunately, balance is a problem because of the way that he is sculpted, his left foot doesn't want to reach the ground, which leaves, balance. Otherwise, this is a very perfect figure. His only accessories are the knife, which comes in a brown painted hilt with a silver painted tip. Looks very nice, very accurate. Second, we have the pumpkin, which looks exactly like the pumpkin seen in the opening titles of the first Halloween film. It's supposed to be an orange. It probably looks a little bit orange, but I say it looks a little inconsistent with an orange pumpkin. And the paint job isn't all that great. It looks like a rotting pumpkin or a slightly less than ripe pumpkin. But I really do love the attention to detail on it, and it's just awesome to see that level of detail. This Marquee is, of course, a staple of the first few series of horror Maniacs. I think they used these up until series 4 or 5, but I could be mistaken. At the base, we have a grotesque display of skulls and rats. And then as we go further up, we see the movie Maniacs logo. And up, we see even more decrepit spine columns, more skulls. Looks like a hand, maybe an arm, a tibia, scapula, however you want to. I'm not really good at anatomy. And just disgusting array of bones. It looks like this thing was crafted in the bowels of hell. Really awesome. And of course, dead center, or should I say close to the top, I should say, we have a cardboard, place card that replicates the original theatrical one-sheet of Halloween, the night he came home. And this is just one of those most iconic movie posters. Looking up at the back, you can see where it was plugged in. And we see more skulls. Oh man, looks like something out of Hellraiser. And that is my Halloween review. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed it, and I hope you liked this foray into horror. Unfortunately, I don't have many of these figures. Most of the ones I actually did sell because they were just really, really bad, or I just needed the money. And I didn't have as much of a nostalgic attachment to them as I did Halloween. Halloween, as you may not recall in one of my earlier reviews, was the first horror film, well, second, technically, that I had ever witnessed. And I immediately fell in love with it, and I own it to this day. Well, let's just say I love the movie to death, and I will buy every version that I find of it. Well, that's it for me. Before I go into an even more deeper rambling that should have been a 5-minute video about a staction, I apologize for that. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, this little review, and I really hope I see you all next time. This is Translato10, and I am signing off. Happy Halloween!